Hi everyone, you're at work with Hella, and today we're doing an installation at a client in downtown Toronto. So what I've got here is the floor plan. So this is part of our proposal system, that we get the floor plan from the client, and then what we can do is add pictures of what the plant in the container will look like and where it's going in the office. So that kind of gives a visual clarity to potential clients, as well as us, the installers, who knows where they're going and which plants we're installing. So let's take a look at some of the plants and we'll choose some of the best. So looking at the floor plan, there's a rectangular windowsill planter here that's calling for some pothos, and that's going into an internal office area, meaning that there's no windows nearby. So it's going to be living on artificial light only, and pothos are actually quite good at that. They don't mind lack of normal sunshine at all, or natural sunshine. They're okay with just fluorescent lights, or even better, the LEDs have been amazing. But I thought it would be nice to mix the golden pothos with some neon pothos, because we're going to be putting 4 plants in one of these pots. So it'd be nice if it was kind of symmetrical. So I want to choose the best ones. What I'm looking for is fullness, as well as a good root system. Let me just put these down for a second. Let's take a look at this one. Just gotta give it a little bit of a squeeze and a pull. So the roots look nice and healthy, and this one will be a good addition. And maybe there's a few to choose from, but I'm kind of thinking that this would be nice. And if we do an alternating kind of design, then the yellow bits of the golden pothos will be kind of highlighted and brought out by the neon pothos. So we'll see how that all pots up, and it'll look beautiful. This will be another variety. It's going to be going into a boardroom that we may not have access all the time. So it's a really good plant that can go dry in between waterings, and just in case we don't get in. But it's also a medium to highlight plant, so it'll be able to handle the heat of the sunshine as well as going dry. So I have great hopes for this little guy. So here's all the delivery of the Lechuza containers that we got. So these are all the ones going into the office, kind of spread around the office. Yeah, I'll show you how we pot them up in a little bit after we unwrap them all. So now I'm going to be potting up one of the floor plants that we're putting into the office. So we've unwrapped this. This is a Quadro 35 container in charcoal finish. It's part of the Lechuza line. So what I'm just doing is unwrapping it all. Now I think Lechuza is a German company, so it might actually be pronounced Lechuza, but not too sure about that. So I'm unpacking everything. It comes with all the indicators and some pon, some cardboard we can dispose of. So we're going to be potting it up. So what I'm doing is taking out all the pieces. That's just dirt, and unwrapping it all. So first, you can see in here we have the liner. So this is removable. So the liner itself has these feet on it that keep it up above the bottom of the pot, and that's where the reservoir, that's called a reservoir, and that's where the water sits. So this is a sub-irrigation container, and what that means is that it stores water to be accessible for when the plant needs it. And as I put it together, I'll show you. Where's oh, there it is, almost lost my little piece. This is just to hold the soil back. It's a little bit tricky getting that piece on. And then it's got to fit into that corner and fit top there. So then it snaps in. So now this is where the water gets poured into. And then, as we saw before, that reservoir will hold the water underneath. And I'm going to put the water indicator together, and that will show us how much water is sitting in the reservoir. So we have all these pieces that then I need to put together. So we have the indicator here, and this is the styrofoam float that I just click on. Then what I do is I put that into the tube. I put the top bit on, like the indicator, through the small hole in the top part. Cinch that on there. Then I put the bottom piece on to hold the styrofoam, the float. And there's our indicator, and then that just kind of gets protected with this max-min level indicator. So now when we put that in here, when we pour water in, the indicator floats up to let us know whether it's in the minimum, meaning empty, or maximum, meaning full. So now that we have that all together, I'm just going to put in the pond. It's these small rocks. It's like expanded clay, and that actually helps extra water drain into the reservoir, so it provides drainage, but also it doubles as wicking substrate, which then brings the water from the reservoir and wicks it up into the soil. So now we're ready to plant. So what I'm potting up is this beautiful Sansevieria, otherwise known as snake plant or mother-in-law's tongue because it's sharp. And I have my bag of soil. Let's see if I can put that over here. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of soil on the bottom because this root ball isn't as deep as this container is, and we don't want the plant going too deep into the container. I'm just going to pop off the soil. Oh, for a snake plant, this is a beautiful root system. This is one healthy plant. And you can see all the green round things in there. That's actually fertilizer. So what I want to do is remove some of that, because in the office environment, it doesn't need so much fertilizer, and it actually will become a bit toxic in the soil, and the plant can't use so much of it. It's like salts. Too much salts will become toxic. So I'm just removing some of those, loosening up the root ball a bit. And let's see, oh yeah, that's perfect depth too. All right, so now I'm going to put some more soil in there and plant the root ball right into the Lacuza system. Because if we put it in with the grow pot still on, then the whole system won't function properly. I mean, how is the water supposed to get into the root ball if there's a piece of plastic separating it? So we're evenly distributing the soil around the root ball, and this ensures that the plant is centered. I mean, that's a main part of the aesthetics, is getting the plant centered into the container. You want to put a bit of pressure on the soil, but not so jam-packed that it will actually repel water and the roots won't grow into it. But you want it packed enough that the water won't, or the soil won't recede or I guess compact over time so much that it'll like go down into the pot. It's a lot easier to put soil in the greenhouse than it is in the office. So we want to make sure it's got enough soil for, you know, a while. I would say at least a year it should have enough soil in it. Okay, so that's pretty good level. And once we're all packed up and delivering and everything, we will wipe off the extra bits of soil around there. And so this one is ready to be installed. Now we're all set to pot up this is called a Balconera 80, the windowsill planter. So I'll just remove the plastic. I'll remove some of this packaging. extra bits of cardboard. There's two sides of this, there's two boxes, A and B. And as you can see, there's two liners in here. So again, we have the feet that keep it above the water reservoir. And these two are the ones where the roots can go through, or the water wicks up. So the water goes into the slots, goes into that the expanded clay, and then goes up into the soil. Then these holes are good for drainage, as well as the roots tend to grow through and go into the reservoirs of water as well. So these two sides are identical, but the A and B boxes has one with the indicators in the pond, so the rocks, and one has kind of a blank, so we're just kind of closing that one side off, putting that pond on this side. So one side gets the indicator and the other side is just kind of a blank, because you don't need two indicators for these containers, even though it's got two liners, because the whole bottom is joined. So when you pour water in, the one indicator is sufficient to find out how much water is in the bottom. So I'm just going to be putting this indicator together. You can see we have a whole bunch of pieces here. So this is the indicator itself. I'm putting the styrofoam bottom on, putting that in. Then I put the top and I'm cinching that on. Then the bottom. And so that's all held together. And then the max min indicator, and that's the full indicator, which now I'm putting into the corner that was open. That clicks in, and then this cap on top prevents soil from getting in, but when we're watering, we just simply turn it, water into the hole, which fills up the reservoir, and we can see here how much water is in the reservoir using our indicator. So there's a minimum line and then the maximum line. Now I'm going to put in the pond, which is these little rocks. Spread that evenly around the bottom. The other one. Spread that around. And now we're ready for plants and soil. So now we're set to pot up the pothos. And again, we're kind of alternating between the golden pothos and the neon pothos, just because I think that brings a beautiful variety into the container and a splash of color to the office. So we have the Balconera 80. This container is 31 inches long, 7 inches high, 7 inches wide. So it's perfect to sit on windowsills, or also we put them on top of like filing cabinets in a nice long line. So let's get ready. We'll pop this one up, remove the packaging. So we're getting rid of the cardboard. We have the two boxes in here in the two separate liners. So I'm just going to unwrap those. The pond. This side has some pond and a dummy. So we'll put that on. I'm going to put the indicator together. So I could just slice that to release the red indicator, but sometimes I just pull off the sticker. Okay, so we have all these bits. So all these pieces need to be put together in order to have the indicator work properly. So I'm just putting the top one on, the bottom one on, make sure they're nice and tight. The indicator protector on there, and put it right in there, and the top cap protects it from getting soil into the reservoir. So there we have the container put together. It's got 2 liners in here, and there's the bottom. We always want to make sure that this orange plug is in there. That's what makes this container watertight, and so it ensures that it will not leak in the office. It's a watertight plastic container. There will be no leaking, no seeping, so no damage to any surfaces. And then these liners are strictly to keep the soil and root ball sitting above the water reservoir underneath, and that way the plant can soak up the water as it needs it. And I'm just adding the Lechuza Pon, which is the expanded clay product, and this helps wick the moisture up into the root ball via the soil. So we do that for both sides. Okay, and now we're ready to start actually planting. So because the root balls are pretty short, I'd say that's about a 5-inch root ball. The container is 7 inches, but the reservoir is about this deep. So I'd say there's about 6 inches of actual planting depth here. And oh, it's a nice pothos root ball. Looks nice and healthy. And let's put some soil on the bottom first. So I'll just put and I shouldn't call it soil, this is indoor potting mix, which is mostly made up of peat moss and some perlite in there. The white is perlite, and that's just to aerate the soil and make it so it doesn't compact. Okay, so I'm loosening up the root ball a little bit. See how it kind of will be able to grow into the soilless mix. And what did I want to do? And so we're alternating the plants in the root ball. So this is the neon pothos, again, a very nice root system. And we're always looking for that. I mean, there's no point in putting plants that don't have a healthy root system, because going into the low light environment of an office, the plant will struggle right from the get-go. So we want to make sure, I mean, that's something that we do. We always make sure that we're putting in a nice healthy plant, and mainly because we're guaranteeing it. So if it doesn't survive, then we replace it free of charge. So we want to make sure everything's healthy, happy, and will thrive for years. Okay, so now I'm going to add some soil. Make sure all those little root hairs are in there. Use my scoop. Okay, so I'm just pouring in soil around the root ball, lightly pressing it in. I want to make sure that the plants or the root ball is nicely surrounded with fresh soil, and that we're not leaving some big gaping holes anywhere. Moving on into the second liner and putting soil around that. Pressing it in so that when we first water it, this potting media will compact, like kind of condense a bit. So that's why we want to press it in a bit, because otherwise it'll just shrink right into the pot. think the soil level feels pretty good now. And then once we water this in and clean up the container, it will be ready for its install. I'm potting up this other windowsill planter, and you can see here that there's a couple of babies coming up. So these will grow into nice full plants. This is a Sansevieria type of variety, the bird's nest Sansevieria, meaning it's a shorter variety, so it's not going to become like the super tall plant in a windowsill planter. But I got really excited with this, because check out these. These are 3 new babies about to come. So when I plant these in, like, they were just below the surface, and so I didn't see that they were here, but when I pulled off the pot, then lo and behold, there they are. And when we plant them up, they're going to be poking through, and we'll have some babies within a couple of weeks. How exciting is that? So now we're in the office, and I've got my floor plan, so I'm just seeing where the plants are all going. We've kind of put them here as a temporary spot, and from here we're going to distribute. So come with me and let's put this one in the proper spot. Okay, so this is the last one of 4, and we're putting them on the windowsills here, and this will go a long way to brighten up the boardroom here. And now that we've done all that, we're just going to give them a quick wipe, clean them all up, and water them in. Giving them a good wipe down, making sure there's no more little bits of soil anywhere, and then making sure that, you know, all the leaves are okay, nothing got damaged during the transport. I am going to give these a little bit of water. We did water them a little bit in the greenhouse, but I think some of the soil seems a little bit dry still, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a top up, just to give them a nice fresh start. And won't these plants be happy in this little meeting room? I mean, look at this view. We're getting a little bit of a sunset over there, and you can see the CN Tower. These ones in this boardroom, I think, look amazing. As we spoke about in the greenhouse, they're going to have access to quite a bit of sunshine here. Again, they're right by the rads. I don't know if they're rads, but anyway, hot and cold air will come out of here, and these plants should be able to handle that. They're not sitting right on top of the heaters, and yeah, I think these plants are going to be very happy here, and they have a beautiful view of Toronto. The client is thrilled. Everything is placed, and it's providing such a pop of color and a bit of splash of nature. And it's always nice to have a little bit of biophilia in your office. Biophilia works with paintings as well as putting plants in, but obviously I'm biased. You should have some live plants in your office. It also helps with your mood, stress levels, increases productivity, and they're just beautiful. I mean, they're like art, and it's an ever-changing art because these will grow. Now, they're not supposed to get too much taller. It's not like the other snake plant that grows tall. This is a nest Sansevieria, and so they'll stay fairly short, but they will grow, as we were talking about with those babies. The babies will come and they'll really pack in here, and it's going to just fill right out and be beautiful. And I think that's a wrap. So have a wonderful day.